How didn't they find her those times when the police was there? The hell?
Hello.
Skinwalkers are getting weird, bro. It's like a dog, right? What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. How you guys doing? Hopefully you guys are doing all right, man. If you guys are brand new to the channel, you guys don't know what we do. We break down scary room creepy videos on the net, on the web, from YouTube videos to TikTok videos, IG videos, Facebook. You guys already know the drill, man. You can find all those things on my channel. Just want to thank my supporters, man, who's tapping into the channel, watching the video entirely, hitting that post notification bell, man, so you always get notified when I drop my videos, and also hitting that like button, man, helping us push us into the algorithm, man. Like I said, we're gonna take off one day and explode, but thank you guys for joining me on my journey. Found this video for you guys today. Let's do what we do best, seekers. Let's seek the truth.
We're always told to drink a lot of water throughout the day, but have you ever wondered what happens when you drink too much water? Well, 35-year-old Ashley Summers drank 64 ounces of water in a span of 20 minutes and passed away from water toxicity. Ashley, her husband, and 2 daughters were at Lake Freeman in Indiana when she began feeling dehydrated. So she drank 4 bottles of water because for some reason she wasn't able to quench her thirst. Ashley complained about having a horrible headache and she began to feel lightheaded. When she got home with her family, she passed out in the garage and she was taken to the hospital where the doctor said she had brain swelling. Ashley never woke up and she was pronounced dead from water toxicity. A toxicologist said that this is more likely to happen to someone who's extremely dehydrated, which will cause them to drink too much water and not enough sodium or electrolytes. So remember, bring more than just water on really hot days, especially if you're under the sun for a long period of time. This day...
That's actually insane, man. Someone passed away from drinking too much water. Like she said, when we were growing up, it was also, drink water, be hydrated. Man, the more you know, seekers.
Her owner shot her husband twice after she found this out. Shantiri Weems and her husband James owned this daycare called Kids Castle. On July 2022, a woman whose child was attending Kids Castle approached Shantiri and told her that her daughter was being molested by James. Shantiri lost it, and in that moment, she made her way to a hotel in Washington, D.C. where James was staying at and shot him in the neck and thigh. Shantiri admits that her intentions were to paralyze James because she was just so angry. Keep in mind, Shantiri loved kids and her job, and she wanted this daycare to be something where kids felt like they were safe. And she said after seeing the pain in this mother's face, she snapped. James had contact with 93 children, and most of them rode on the daycare bus with him, which is where most of the abuse happened. And this story only gets more disturbing. And James was also a retired Baltimore police officer. But ultimately, Shantiri was sentenced to 4 years in prison, and the judge said that she should have never taken the law into her own hands. James, on the other hand, faces 30 counts of child sexual abuse and assault charges.
There has been a horrifying discovery
Crazy
in
case.
Florida. Police have recovered 3 suitcases from the Delray Beach containing remains of a mystery woman. On July the 21st, police received a call about something suspicious in the water. When police got to the scene, they found human remains in the first suitcase and shortly after found 2 other cases. A homicide investigation is underway and police have revealed this image of what they believe the victim to have looked like. The image also roughly shows what her clothing may have looked like as well. They believe that the victim was killed between a period between the 17th and the 20th of July. She's believed to have been between 35 and 50 years of age. Based upon what they have found, they believe that she was about 5'4" in height. Investigators are appealing to members of the public for any help in identifying the victim. They're also asking anyone who lives in that general area to check their security cameras for anything that might be useful towards the case.
Be careful where you at.
As the Grim Sleeper, responsible for killing between 10 and 25 plus people. Got the name the Grim Sleeper is because apparently he went on a 14-year hiatus, for which he eventually started killing again, which led to him being caught. Deborah Jackson was a mother of 3 in which she was shot 3 times by a .25 caliber gun. He would only kill women, so much of the women that he would kill, he would shoot with this certain gun, which he would shoot them in the chest and he would dump their body. The pattern continued and continued as more women were being shot in the chest and dumped in the alley. Investigators weren't really linking the cases until they realized that the odds that the person is shooting somebody in the chest with the exact same gun. They worked on various leads, looked for various people. For the most part, it seemed like they were just going from dead end to dead end. Eventually, in '87, they got an anonymous 911 call in which a witness claims that they saw a woman's body being tossed into an alley. He shared a license plate of the van and what the person looked like. At the scene, investigators discovered a woman later identified as a 32-year-old Barbara, in which she was fatally shot in the chest with a .25 caliber gun. So they have the license plate, so you think, okay, maybe they caught the killer. So the detectives traced the license plate to a van that is at a church, where the keys to the vehicle are very easily accessible to almost anyone.
Damn. They say you want like 14 years between that, man. He never got caught. Well, no, they said they caught him up in the end, but it took 14 years, man. Goes to show you, man. Justice, karma, it'll come to you, man. It may take a couple months, days, months, or years, but it's that energy gonna revert right back to you.
For nothing.
The most disgusting case. Nostalgic Ike. He went to one of the restaurants to buy food and coffee.
What
When
happened?
he opened the coffee, he found cockroaches' legs.
Hell
He
no.
also returned his coffee to employees, and he got new coffee. But after the coffee was purchased, more cockroaches' feet were in the coffee.
What the fuck?
Bonus photo.
I'm always checking now, bro. Always open that lid up, Seekers. We don't know what's in there. Some crazy info we learning.
Here's the second part of the body cam footage of Chad Dorman, the monster, the so-called father, who unalived his 3 sons in a way that I cannot even describe on here. But before I show you the video, the cop and the way he reacts in this video and how he talks to the suspect is 100% how I would talk to him.
That's a little. Can you get the wallet out of my back pocket? Shut up, dude. Yeah, the rest of me solid fucking music.
There's a wallet for what? It's in his pocket.
Horror movies with the biggest plot twist that you won't see coming. The movie we're talking about today has one of the most unique and insane stories I've ever seen.
Talk
Livid
about
is
it.
a French horror movie about a nurse taking care of an old woman who used to be a famous ballet teacher. The old woman is in a coma, but she's very rich and lives in a mansion. There's also a mysterious key that's always around her neck. So the nurse, her boyfriend, and her boyfriend's brother decide to rob her, as it's rumored there's some kind of treasure hidden in her mansion. And they assume the key around her neck opens the door to the treasure. But when they open that door, they find something else. I'm gonna tell you what they found behind the door, so if you don't want to hear it, just click away now. They found the old woman's dead daughter, whose corpse has been turned into a human ballerina statue. Just like one of those ballerinas dancing in a music box. But don't worry, because there's another twist. You'll also never guess how it ends. I thought it was weird and entertaining and just interesting to watch. So check out Livid and follow for more.
Earlier this week,
Any of you seekers watch that?
California opened up a barrel that was on the beach only to find a body inside, and now a homicide investigation is underway. This past Sunday, a maintenance worker at the Malibu Lagoon State Beach saw a black plastic barrel floating in the lagoon and brought it in with a kayak. He didn't open it at the time, but the next morning, a lifeguard on duty spotted the same barrel back out in the lagoon. He swam out and brought it back into the beach, and when he noticed how heavy it was, he opened it to see what was inside. And that's when he found a man's body. The origin of the barrel is unclear, but it's possible that it was brought in with the tide from the ocean. The man's identity has still yet to be remained as well, and homicide detectives are now investigating and have not released many details. However, they did note that the foot did not look very decomposed, indicating that the body may have not been in there very long. Investigators are also looking into security footage in the area to try to determine where the barrel may have come from and who may have disposed of it. Like I said, they have yet to identify the remains, and the investigation is ongoing. But this is just so eerie, and I hope they can figure it out quickly.
What is it, man? They just put bodies on the beaches. I don't get it. What the hell is that? What the hell was she on? She was not acting normal, Seekers, man. The way she just popped up, that was like 10 times more weirder.
What we know about the 4 Idaho students who were murdered in their house. On November 13th at 12 p.m., 4 University of Idaho students were found stabbed to death in their beds in a home that they shared. The victims were 20-year-old Ethan, 21-year-old Kaylee, 21-year-old Madison, and 20-year-old Zaina. Just a few hours before Madison and Kaylee were murdered at 1:40 a.m., they were seen on surveillance grabbing some food from a food truck in downtown Moscow. They then took an Uber home, and at around 3 to 4 a.m., their lives were taken. Ethan and Zaina, who were a couple, also arrived to the home around the same time as Kaylee and Madison. There were also 2 other students in the home while the murder took place, but they were not harmed, and they said they did not hear anything. These students in the home were also not the ones who called 911, but police will not release that information. Police do believe that this was a targeted and isolated attack, but they do not have any suspects at the moment. In my opinion, I think there's a lot more to the story, and I hate to say it, but these attacks seem really random, and this may be a serial killer.
That's a tragic case. The hell was they doing on the gurney? Come on, man, with that ass. Think that one was the edit. You can spot those out, man. Y'all spot out the edits, man. Comment down below, bro. Like flickering on and off, what the hell? Is that an edit too? Like someone's trying to grab it? She just walked away at the end?
This is 28-year-old Nadina Burraz, and she was from the UK. In 2012, Nadine decided that she wanted to join a dating website, and she made a profile on MuslimMatch.com. On this website, she met Sami Al-Mahari, and he was posing as a millionaire from the United States. The relationship grew quickly and became very intense. Since Nadine was in the UK and Sami was in the United States, they started a long-distance relationship, and they would be seen talking on the phone for hours until the early morning. In 2013, they ended up meeting for the first time, and later on, Nadine realized that he was lying about his occupation and he wasn't actually a millionaire, he was a taxi driver.
Yes, Nadine was
Just
upset
capping.
with Sammy, and it wasn't the fact that he wasn't a millionaire, it was the fact that he lied to her all this time. Unfortunately, the relationship quickly became abusive, and Sammy would leave Nadine covered in bruises. On December 30th of 2014, Sammy had visited Nadine in Cardiff, UK. He went to Nadine's home but got into an altercation with her brother, so he was asked to leave. Sammy was staying at a hotel pretty close by to Nadine's home, so that's when he gave her a call and told her that he had actually left his passport at her home and if she could bring it to him. They ended up going to a nearby restaurant, and around 11 p.m. is when they made it back to the hotel. An hour later, Sammy was seen at a casino with some fresh scratches to his face. Sammy then took Nadine's car to the airport and he took a flight to Qatar. The next day, around 12:20 p.m., was New Year's Eve, and Nadine's body was found in that hotel room. Police had discovered that Nadine's laptop and phone were missing, so that could only mean that Sammy had these. Soon enough, Nadine's family were getting text messages from her phone, and this was Sammy. He was just taunting them and basically telling them that they were going to be next. On January 19th, 2015, Sammy was located in Tanzania. He was arrested and brought back to the UK. Sammy claimed he was suffering from abnormality of mental function and that the voice of God told him to kill Nadine. In 2016, Sammy was given a life in prison with a minimum term of 17 years before being eligible for parole.
If I didn't know this was a true
family,
crime
man.
case, I would think it was a disturbing horror film. On the morning of the 7th of October 2022, a barefoot woman was running around Excelsior Springs, Missouri, bashing on people's doors. Witnesses describe her looking like she came straight from a horror film and she was calling for help. She'd been beaten, held captive, and SA'd for weeks. The woman was a shocking sight. She was covered in injuries and was wearing a bin bag. Disturbingly, she was gasping for breath as she had a very tight metal collar locked round her neck. It was a nurse who opened the door to her and let her come in. The nurse started to call police, and at this point the woman panicked. She warned her that the captor would kill her and claimed that he had killed her 2 friends. When police got there, the woman explained that a man called Timothy had captured her the month prior. He'd been holding her hostage this whole time. She said he'd been keeping her locked in the basement and had been SAing her. Disturbingly, she told police that he actually had a young son who lived at the house with him. When Timothy had taken his young son to school the one day, she used it as her opportunity to escape. Police made their way to the home of 39-year-old Timothy Hazlitt Jr. and found the property did in fact have a basement like the woman described. Timothy was arrested and is facing 9 charges including first-degree kidnapping. He's being held on a $3 million bond and faces 5 life sentences. Before his arrest, police were actually called to his address 3 times. Twice they were asked to do welfare checks, and this was from an employer and also family members. Police have searched his home with cadaver dogs and they haven't yet released what they know.
How didn't they find her those times when the police was there? The hell?
Hello.
Skinwalkers is getting weird, bro. It's like a dog, right?
Those trail cameras. Vultures everywhere. Dog.
Okay. I don't want to leave. What the fuck? Where the hell are you going? They didn't want to leave. What the fuck? Survivable things, okay. What? How the hell he do that? Yeah, there's no 2 months. That's insane, bro. The hell was in those cases?
In Seattle, Washington. On the 19th of June 2020, a group of friends are using an app called Randonauting. This app gives totally random coordinates for the user to go and follow and then report back what they find. The friends were given coordinates which led them to Alki Beach Pier, where upon arrival they discovered a black suitcase. They go to investigate the suitcase, joking on that it could be filled with money, but as they got closer to it, a disgusting, smelling odour just radiated from it. When they opened the suitcase, it amplified and they described the smell as overwhelming. Upon opening the suitcase, they found that it was not filled with money. However, it did have several things inside that were wrapped up in bin bags. One of the teenagers, being very responsible, decided to call the police and report the findings. When officers arrived, they almost immediately cordoned off the area and asked everyone to leave. This is now a crime scene. Inside the suitcase, they found the dismembered remains of a human body. Searches were carried out all around the area where the suitcase was found, and these searches turned up several more bags, all of which had more dismembered human remains inside. It was established that the bodies of a male and female had been found. 11 days later, their bodies were identified. They had found 27-year-old Austin Wenner and 35-year-old Jessica Lewis. It was determined that both Austin and Jessica had been victims of a beating before being fatally shot. Austin had been shot 7 times and Jessica had been shot once. It was estimated that they had died 10 days prior to being found. Jessica was a mother of 4 who worked caring for disabled adults, and this just reflected the type of person she was. She was described as kind, caring, and just a ray of sunshine. She and Austin had been in a happy relationship for around 8 years, and although her 4 children were not fathered by him, he still loved them and he brought them up as if they were his own. Austin was someone who had a big heart and a love for the outdoors. He loved all things camping, dogs, trucks, country music. They lived together in a room that they rented off of 63-year-old Michael Dudley, and it was in this house that they were last seen alive. Now that investigators knew their victims, they were able to properly start finding out what had happened to them. Phone records show that one of them from the couple had had a phone call with Michael only 7 minutes before their phones shut off and weren't used again. On the night of the murder, a neighbour of Michael's had rang the police saying that she had heard a man pleading, quote, "Please don't do this, just let me leave," before she heard several gunshots. When officers arrived to the house, it was in darkness and there was no movement inside, so they thought no one's home, so they simply turned around and left. On this same night, a new tenant of Michael's arrived at the house. This was 1 hour after police had been there and Michael was home and let her in. She noticed that in one of the rooms it seemed like someone was lay on the floor and not moving, that there was clothes thrown over them in order to try and disguise that they were there. She noticed that this person had a bloody arm and she questioned Michael about it, to which he responded, quote, "My gun worked and his didn't. Now please move along, I have a mess to clean up." She also noted that his glasses were broken and it looked like he had fresh scratch marks on it. On the 19th of August, Michael is arrested and his house is searched. During the search, there was a thick smell of bleach around the house and one of the rooms seemed to have been recently redecorated, having fresh paint on the wall. There were bullet holes in the walls and they also found blood in the room that the new tenant had said she saw someone on the floor. Michael's arrest shocked the community as he portrayed himself to be a very soft, sweet and helpful man, but that was very far from the truth. Michael had a criminal record dating back over 20 years. His record consisted of things such as trafficking, grand theft auto and possession of drugs. His own daughter even applied for a restraining order against him after he sexually assaulted her over a period of 9 years. In December 2022, Michael was found guilty of 2 counts of second-degree murder by a jury. The jury took only 1.5 days to deliberate. It's believed that Michael had murdered Austin and Jessica because they couldn't afford their rent for the next month, and they were paying $1,500 in rent just for one room. He was clearly very much taking advantage of them. Only last week, on the 8th of April, Michael was handed a 46-year sentence.
Goes to show you, man, you never truly know somebody. Like I said, he betrayed. He was a caring member of the community, but he had a dark side. Criminal record spanning 20 years. Can't trust anybody in this life, seekers. Sad but true. You guys, if you guys made it with me to the end of the video, you're a true seeker seeking the truth. I really appreciate the support, man. Like I said, guys, hit that like button, man. Hit that subscribe button as well. Also, follow me on all my social medias, links down below, so we always stay connected. Like I said, guys, I drop these bangers every single day for you guys. We're going to continue to grow. We're going to continue to get better. Also, man, like I said, comment down below what can I do to make the videos more better for you guys, what I need to work on, what I need to improve. We're still in the beginning phases right now, but we're going to get there one day, seekers. Trust me. I'm out. Peace, YouTube. What's up, seekers? Welcome back to the channel. Hopefully you guys are doing all right, man. If you guys are brand new to the channel, we break down scary and creepy videos on the net, on the web, from YouTube videos to Tik Toks to IG Reels, Facebook, anything weird, usual, and unexplained you can find right here on this channel. Just want to thank the seekers, man, who's been tapping into the channel, subscribing, hitting that post notification bell, hitting that like button, man. We guys are growing the community together. Really appreciate that, man. Like I said, I changed the volume, so let me know if you guys can hear the videos even better, man. With each and every video I'm trying to do, get the settings right for you guys. Found this video for you guys today. Seek the truth, seekers.
Facts about the ocean that are scarier than any horror movie. First up, I bet you didn't know that you can literally melt in the ocean. Because in the deep sea, there's something called hydrothermal vents that can reach up to 750 degrees Fahrenheit, which will allegedly cause your body to melt. But by then, you probably wouldn't even notice because all your bones would have likely been crushed by the pressure. The next fact is honestly even scarier to think about. You know how we have so many scary stories about sea creatures, like sirens, the Loch Ness Monster, or giant squids? Well, a lot of the creatures that used to be just a story are slowly being discovered as real. For example, the giant squid, which scientists found were not only real and over 59 feet in length, but are also cannibals. If that's not bad enough, here's more. Because the ocean is basically a giant graveyard. In 2014, researchers diving into an underwater cave in Mexico found the remains of a girl estimated to be 13,000 years old, meaning there's a high likelihood that if you go missing or drown that you would probably never be found. There's also 10 million viruses in every drop of seawater, meaning viruses in the ocean outnumber all of the stars in the Milky Way. The actual number is estimated to be 1 nonillion, which is a number I've never heard before, but here it is written out. That itself makes me never want to go swimming in the ocean again. Follow for more. Photos.
What the hell? One nonillion? Learn new stuff every day, man, watching these videos with you guys. As I said, tap in with us. Those facts about the sea, those are just scary. I can't believe there's more viruses like in the sea than there's stars in the Milky Way. If you think about it, that's freaking mind-blowing. 1 million. We love our lands.
Of people before and after they went missing. Number 1, Riker Webb. Riker Webb went missing and was found 4 days later on his own in a completely rural area. Number 2, Brenda Heist. Brenda Heist went missing for 11 years. Daughter, family, everybody sent search parties looking for this woman, and 11 years later she turned up looking like this. Steve Carter. Now this is an interesting one. Steve Carter was searching an online forum when he came across a missing child case. He realised that the child was him. Imagine finding this out online as a grown adult. If you like anything weird, scary or a little bit creepy, please support my channel by giving me a follow.
That last story.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. Part 19. Facebook was forced to shut down 2 artificial intelligence robots named Alice and Bob because they started communicating with one another in their own language.
No.
If you ever win the lottery, you're 120 times more likely to be killed by an immediate family member. A sloth has nipples in its armpits. In the 17th century, there was a man named Tare who could eat his entire body weight in just one sitting. And despite being pretty skinny, he would swallow live animals, eat human corpses, and was even accused of eating the body of a 3-year-old toddler. An 11-year-old boy named Konorak escaped Jeffrey Dahmer's apartment, but was later returned to Dahmer by police, and he killed the boy just 30 minutes after. It's commonly believed in religion that angels look like this, but according to the Bible, they actually look like this.
6 things you didn't know.
Those things we learn, Seekers, man. Especially about the part about the winning the lottery. I didn't even know that was a known statistic, known fact. It goes to show you, Seekers, man. Once you get that money, you instantly become a target, man. It doesn't matter if it's friend, family. You just gotta watch out who you be around because you're the target. You're the biggest, I guess, threat in the room. Damn. I think about that guy who can eat his whole body weight in the city. It's old stories, man, that I'm just not hearing.
Know about the pocong and where you can find them in Singapore. Before we start, let's talk about the story behind the pocong. Pocong is one of the most infamous ghosts in Malay mythology. Pocong is the soul of a deceased person who is doomed to roam the earth due to unfinished business. According to Malay funeral practices, the body has to be tied in several places to keep the body intact. When the body is put into the grave, the knots are usually removed. According to Malay belief, the soul usually stays in earth for 40 days. So when the knots are not removed, the soul gets stuck in the body and jumps out of the grave as a pocong. The first thing you didn't know about a pocong is that they can age. If the pocong has a body of a person who died recently, the pocong will look young. And if the pocong has a body of a person who died long ago, the pocong will look old. Number 2, pochongs don't walk, they hop like a rabbit. Since the knots on their feet are not removed when they are buried, they can't walk, so they hop. Sometimes they even roll around in the ground. Number 3, pochongs are also known as vampires because they love to drink blood. They do so to absorb the life force of a person to feel more energetic. Number 4, pochongs have the ability to teleport anywhere, but their most common place is to be under a banana tree. Number 5, the red pochong is the most aggressive kind of pochong. This pochong will attack even without being provoked, and since they are very aggressive, they are known to be the leaders of pochongs. Number 6, apparently if you hug a pochong, you'll have a luxurious life. If you hug a pocong, you might untie their knots, thus releasing their soul. Thus, out of gratefulness, they will reward you with enormous wealth. Most common sightings of a pocong were reported at Bukit Batok, so all you Westsiders stay safe.
Pochongs. We're going to dive deep into that, man. See some more of the history of those. They can teleport too? We believe that? Fact or cap?
Interesting facts you didn't know. The last one will shock you. There are only 2 people alive who know the recipe of Coca-Cola, and they aren't allowed to travel on the same plane in case it crashes. Did you know that TikTok knows who has a crush on you? Your secret admirer is the second person that appears when you click on share than WhatsApp. Research shows that most dog owners would rather hang out with their dogs instead of other people. There is no single comment under this video with 0 likes. People who like the smell of gasoline, nail polish, and acetone have a very strong tendency to do drugs. Before passing away, Albert Einstein said a few words in German. The only person to listen was a nurse who didn't speak German. If you comment evil, you will unlock a new secret TikTok emoji. Remember to use the brackets with small letter. There is a species of jellyfish that is biologically immortal. This means that it can theoretically live forever as long as it doesn't get eaten or injured. The world's oldest piece of gum is 9,000 years old, and it was found in Sweden. And now, before the last fact, support us by pressing the plus button for more interesting content every day. The probability of you drinking a glass of water with molecules that have passed through a dinosaur is almost 100%.
10 facts you didn't know that could save your life. If your house ever smells like fish for no reason, 9 times out of 10, it's because there's an electrical fire. If you're in a foreign country and you need to call for help, but you don't know the emergency number, call 112 and it'll automatically connect you to the nearest helpline. If a tornado looks like it's not moving, it's actually moving towards you. If you ever wake up to the smell of gas, don't turn on a light. The spark from the light switch could blow up your entire house. Lying flat on your back is the best way to survive a falling elevator. If your hair ever stands up, duck and cover because you're about to be struck by lightning. If you ever fall off the edge onto the tracks, don't try and crawl back up. There's a crawl space built to go underneath in case this happens. If a deer runs across the road, it's better to hit it than swerve into the ditch. But if it's a moose, then it's better to swerve into the ditch, because hitting a moose is like hitting a brick wall. Even if you have no service, you can still dial 911. In an emergency, your phone will connect to the nearest tower. If you ever get kidnapped into the back of a vehicle, disconnect the brake light wires so the cops will pull them over. Then kick on the door to let them know that you're there.
Interesting facts. You're gonna have to write those down.
This footage will blow your mind. A Bangkok Airways pilot sat in his aircraft and filmed what looks like dozens of people exiting a plane. Passengers are seen towing their luggage through a connecting bridge, except this jet bridge was empty. It wasn't connected to a plane, leaving viewers completely baffled as to where the ghostly passengers were coming from. The footage is chilling, and hauntingly, the figures appear to be floating, not walking. The pilot posted the video online, and it sparked a debate. Some say this is just an optical illusion. Others believe these figures are ghosts, spirits caught on film. So ghosts or an optical illusion? What do we think?
Ghosts or optical illusions? I mean, it was an optical illusion. There's a lot of people, man. Ghosts? Could be that. Could it be, like I said, an edited video or something? We don't know. Those type of videos, man, it always get to me, though. Those are chilling, bro. Very weird. It's because you don't have an explanation to explain that. You have to dive deep into that one. Anybody who can find out, tell me down below, man. Like I said, fact or cap.
Scary moments in nature caught on camera.
Hold your pee. That's what it's saying. Don't hold it.
Avoid possible contamination from the air. Please keep shelter in your residence until further notice. If you are a resident of Tik County, please stand by for further updates.
What the hell is that? You don't have a dog. Skinwalker?
Smile Dog is a demon that pretends to be a real dog. Legend says that if you see a picture of Smile Dog, he'll come get you while you're sleeping. And the only way to prevent this is to show the picture to someone else. So send this video to everybody you know. Full story coming tomorrow.
Everyday things you didn't know. The purpose of part 2. 1. The headrest in your vehicle. Although the main reason you have this item in your car is pretty obvious, but there is a hidden use for these that you might need to save your life one day. If you ever get into an accident and can't get out of the car, take the headrest off to break the window with the metal legs. 2. The little hole in your padlock. Many people think this is where the lock could be picked from, but actually, it is only for you to oil up the lock when it starts to get a little rusty and old. 3. The tiny buttons on your jeans. These are known as rivets, and they're attached to your jeans at parts that have a high probability of tearing apart from strain or movement. At least, now you will value those tiny buttons and know what's keeping those pairs of jeans in your wardrobe for a longer time.
I've always wondered what those were for.
Let's see if you have thalassophobia. I'm going to show you 5 photos. If you feel too uncomfortable to make it to the 5th photo, then you could have thalassophobia. So let's go. First one. How about this?
I'm still good.
Feeling uneasy yet? Almost there. Last one. If those images made you feel uneasy, then you may have thalassophobia, which is the fear of deep bodies of water. So let me know if you discovered a new phobia down below.
Crazy did you know fact of other senses to tell when something is wet.
Really?
This video will prove
thalassophobia. We already proved we don't have it.
Fun
Did you guys pass
facts
that?
that might scare you.
Oh, I gotta get in on this. The freshwater snail has parasites attached to it, and when you enter the same water as the freshwater snail, the parasites will seek you out, go inside you, and usually that's fatal. There's a crocodile that's eaten over 200 people, and he's still out there in the wild. Eventually, the sun will consume the entire solar system, and there's nothing we can do about it. This is the largest species of hornet in the world. They're from Japan, they are highly aggressive, they have a very painful sting, and somehow they made their way to the United States. The FDA actually allows a certain amount of fruit flies and fruit fly eggs in some of our food.
Fun fact, in 2021, 43 camels were disqualified from the Camel Beauty Contest at the King Abdulaziz Festival in Saudi Arabia. Handlers will inject the camels' faces with Botox, silicone, and other fillers to make the lips longer and droopier and also make the nose bigger, and handlers will also use rubber bands to limit blood flow to certain body parts to enhance their appearance, as well as injecting the camels with hormones to make the hump larger, rounder, and more shapely. 27 contestants were disqualified for body part stretching, and another 16 were disqualified for having received injections. Camel breeding is a multi-million-dollar industry, and the King Abdulaziz Camel Beauty Contest is no joke, with $66 million in prize money up for grabs. The Camel Club, who organizes the event, have taken a hardline approach on handlers who are participating in unnatural camel beautification. In order to detect cheating, each camel is examined both physically and clinically, x-rayed, looked over with a 3D ultrasound device, and finally, they test the camel's blood and conduct a genetic analysis.
I didn't know camel breeding was a $66 million industry. Who knew? What the hell? And they going through the same. They do the same things as us humans do, man. Go through the process of trying to look better. I can't believe even animals have to go through that. The more you know. It's like you truly can't escape that, man. Just working on it, like fixing up yourself. The animals have a process. Humans is just like it goes all around. Where you at?
A fisherman just got video proof of the Loch Ness Monster for the first time. Just 3 days ago, a local fisherman from New York named Lucas Steele went out fishing on Lake Ontario, but what he would find that day he'll never forget. He was out on the water as he is every Saturday trying to get a big catch. The biggest fish he had ever caught was a 41-pound Chinook salmon, and he was hoping to one day find 148 pounds, which would break the record. He was fishing for 45 minutes without any luck, but then suddenly something huge caught onto his fishing line. This was a monster of a fish. He battled with this beast for an hour before finally pulling it up. This was a 47-pound Chinook salmon. He was overjoyed and was ready to head back, but suddenly he saw something in the distance that resembled a sea serpent with a long neck and moved quickly through the water. Lucas Steele's interest peaked and quickly turned his boat engine on and moved over the area. He didn't see anything for a few minutes, but then he saw something pop up out of the water. This was the Loch Ness Monster, and it was massive. It was 15 feet tall and at least 50 feet long. He was astonished and quickly took out his phone to take pictures and videos. People tried to tell him not to publish the video, but as of yesterday, he just released it. To see the footage, save this video, then press share, then more, then click on photos, or comment Nessie in all caps under this video.
Which of these facts is the hardest to believe? Squirrels lose more than half of the nuts that they hide. Our eyes are always the same from birth, but our nose and ears never stop growing. It will take 1 hour to drive to space. The second person you see when you click share on WhatsApp is your soulmate. Humans have jumped further than horses in the Olympics. T-shirts were originally made for unmarried men who didn't know how to sew buttons on collared shirts. On average, a baby can cost new parents up to 750 hours of sleep. Want more?
It's true. Time gets faster as we age. This graph shows how we perceive time as we get older. According to this, we experience over 70% of our perceived life by the time we turn 21, with everything until age 5 comprising almost 50% of our whole lives. So why doesn't it feel like turning 5 was the halfway point of our life so far? Well, first of all, we don't start forming stable memories until about age 3 to 4, so those years have been pretty much wiped clean. Secondly, as we age, each additional year becomes a smaller and smaller percentage of how many years we've lived so far. So each year that goes by becomes becomes a smaller and smaller sliver of our total lives. For example, at age 50, an entire year is just 2% of your total life. Meanwhile, back when you were 10, 2% of your life was only about 2.5 months. So technically, 2.5 months to a 10-year-old should feel about the same as an entire year would to a 50-year-old. Time doesn't actually move faster as you age. Your brain just has limited storage space. About 2,500 terabytes to be exact, which seems like a lot, but it actually fills up pretty quick considering that we're basically recording a never-ending video into our memories in 16K or whatever resolution reality is. And each year, your brain needs to choose which memories to delete in order to make room for new ones. Meaning, as we age, we slowly forget the most significant memories of our lives, making us feel like we got to where we are today faster than we actually did, while every additional year that goes by feels like a less and less significant portion of our total timeline, causing life to zip by at supersonic speed by the time we hit like 30. Curious to know, what age is your earliest memory from?
Scary moments in me.
Nah, he was spitting. I ain't on I guess how we perceive time as we get older. How it really just goes by. It's like it's more quicker. Cause sometimes I do maybe having to recall, sometimes my earlier memories. It's the earliest memory I could think of. I could really think and go back. See, damn it, it's hard. I'm trying to do it right now. I only have to think. Damn, you was spitting, bro.
Nature caught on camera.
I can't even recall it right now. See, because I think I think the earliest memory is probably like when I was maybe like 4 or 5 when we had like a whole bunch, we had the dog and me, and they had like a whole bunch of puppies. I remember going to that room. That's like the earliest memory I can think of right now. The more he said, I'm about to say, the more he was talking in that video, the more it was kind of clicking in my head. Whew, alright. Seekers, if you guys made it with me to the end of the video, you're true seekers seeking the truth. I really appreciate that, man. Like I said, I changed the volume for you guys, man. Like I said, so hopefully you guys can hear the video even way clearer now. I'm cutting back on my talking, as you guys can see the past couple of videos. We're trying to grow this community to something big. I know we can, so thank you guys for sticking with me and supporting the channel. Some changes are coming, man. Like I said, might coming soon. You guys can catch you in the next video. I'm out. Peace, YouTube. What's up, seekers? Welcome back to the channel, man. How you guys doing? Hopefully you guys are doing alright, man. If you guys are brand new to the channel, man, what we do is, man, we break down scary and creepy videos on the net, on the web, from YouTube videos to TikTok videos to IG videos, Facebook, anything weird, usual, and unexplained you can find right here on this channel. Just want to thank the seekers, man, who's been tapping in with us, man, subscribing to the channel, hitting that post notification bell, hitting that like button, man. You guys are growing the seekers, man. Like I said, we're a community. If you guys just follow those 3 simple steps, we can grow to bigger and better heights. I kind of fixed the volume for you guys because a couple of you guys said you guys couldn't hear the volume over the past couple of videos, so I fixed that. And like I said, guys, the mic is coming, it's on its way, so guys don't have to worry about that. Once I implement that to the channel, just taking off, or like I said, step by step, man, we're going to keep upgrading our channel. Seek the truth today, seekers.
Real photo of the woman who was frozen solid and lived. This happened back in the 80s. Her car got stuck in a ditch and she started walking to go get help. In the morning, they found her body frozen solid in a cattle ranch's porch in negative 22-degree weather. Her body temperature was so low that it didn't even register on a thermometer. And on top of that, her body was so frozen that the needles couldn't penetrate through the ice. Damn. They didn't think that she was still with us, but they decided to warm her up and just see if something would happen. And somehow this actually worked and she survived. This girl was put on the planet for a reason. Also, this is for educational purposes. I'm not trying to scare anybody. And she was completely fine. It's like this never happened to her after. There weren't any lasting side effects. I'm gonna be so real with y'all. You fell for the clickbait. This is not a real photo. It would not stay on this, like, it wouldn't stay on here if it was. Send this to a friend and see if they fall for the photo. And follow my TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube for more. It really helps when you interact.
It's all our case seekers. Like she said, she was there for a reason.
This is a story I am sure will be removed, so if you're watching this, buckle up. The year is 2009 in Woodstock, Illinois, and a man with the name of Kyle Morgan had just got done luring a homeless guy into his apartment after he promised him food, warmth, and something to drink. Being that it was in the middle of an Illinois winter, the homeless man could not pass it up. A couple weeks later, maintenance was called to Kyle's apartment after a foul odor was coming from it. They knocked, no response, and then used the master key to go inside. Upon entering, the sour smell of death smacked each of them in their face, and they saw the homeless man lying on the ground. But that wasn't it. He was slapped anywhere between 20 and 30 times. He had the number 666 carved into his forehead, as well as Uno reverse cards showing the same numbers laying on his chest, and throughout the entire apartment was satanic writings written in the victim's blood. Kyle fled but was found multiple states away after a traffic incident that led to a high-speed chase, him hitting 2 people in the process, and then detained. He pled guilty but mentally ill and only received 30 years in prison. With that being said, he's going to be released in less than 20 years.
This sick
Seekers, what do you guys think on that one? He pled guilty to insanity and only got 30 years, but they reduced that to 20. I don't know about that, Seekers, man. You meticulously planned that.
23-year-old woman was pretending to be 14 years old online so she could have sex with teenage boys. Folks, I typically cover horror movies. This is fucking horror. This is real life horror, okay? People are sick. Alyssa was first arrested back in November. In November is when she was first suspected of having sexual relationship with a young boy. But while looking further into the case, detectives realized there were maybe 3 or 4 other victims around the age of 13 and 14 years old. Apparently, Alyssa was communicating to these underage boys on TikTok and Snapchat. And this is honest to God why I probably won't give my boys a cell phone until I feel it's appropriate. At that time, she was living with her parents in November with the first arrest. She was arrested last week for multiple felony charges, including sexual cyber harassment, possession of child pornography. They ordered for Alyssa not to have any electronics access while being in jail currently. Her next court appearance is April 16th. I will keep you guys updated and make sure you follow for all things spooky, because this sure as shit is spooky. And it really has me scared for our kids of this generation. Let me know your thoughts on this case in the comments.
Social media, man. It's a sickness, Seekers.
The true story behind this mugshot is absolutely disturbing. This is 54-year-old Stanton Lee Pierce, and in 2017, he was sentenced to 40 years in prison for burning a body. So Stanton had been in and out of prison in the past, but in 2016, he got mixed up in a murder. These were the 3 people that were implicated in this murder scheme. There was 37-year-old Rebecca Bond, pictured over here, who actually shot and killed the 62-year-old victim, Louise Martinez. Then there was 56-year-old Lori Stone Perry and Stanton Pierce, and these 2 were convicted of moving the body. 62-year-old Louise Martinez had been missing for a while, and eventually investigators located his burned prize vehicle out in the middle of nowhere. And when I say out in the middle of nowhere, his burned car was really way out in the middle of nowhere in the woods. Obviously, they knew something had happened to Louise, but they didn't know exactly what had happened. Well, Louise's body was eventually found also burned in a local cemetery, and from that point on, investigators knew that they were looking at a hardcore murder. Eventually, through investigation, investigators were able to determine that Stanton Pierce had helped clean up the crime scene and had helped move the body to that cemetery. He had collected shell casings after the victim was shot and killed, he had removed bullets from a wall that had gotten lodged in there, and he had even cleaned up blood from the surrounding area. And to finish the story out, Stanton Pierce was sentenced to 40 years in prison. He's going to be over 90 years old when he's finally released.
This is why you have to be careful in national parks. So in 2016, a man completely dissolved in a hot spring in Yellowstone. A lot of people don't realize these hot springs are near boiling temperatures, and a lot of them are severely acidic. And falling in happens more than we realize. It terrifies me so much that I made an entire podcast episode about it that's going up tonight. So it's believed that a 23-year-old man and his sister went into Yellowstone to go hot potting. which is when people secretly hang out in the cooler hot springs. It's like really not allowed in the park. His sister was filming him as he went over to one of the hot springs to reach down and touch it to test the temperature, and that's when he tumbled forward and fell in. A rescue team was able to get there, and they saw his body floating in the pool because a fall like that kills you immediately. But a thunderstorm was coming in, so they were going to have to wait a while to get him out. And by the time they got there, there was nothing left. And unfortunately, this does happen more than we realize. Check out tonight's episode if you're interested in hearing more.
This substitute teacher was found in the back of her car with no clothes on with one of her students. This is Erin Ward. She's a substitute teacher from Nebraska. This happened on April 13th in the early hours, around 1 to 3 a.m. The police got a call about a suspicious vehicle parked at the dead end of a road. At the scene, deputies found 2 people in the back of a gray Honda Pilot, Erin Ward and her student. The 17-year-old student reportedly jumped in the driver's seat and sped off, crashing into a yard nearby. He then got out of the car and fled on foot, naked. Deputies then got a hold of Erin Ward in the backseat, putting her clothes on. The vehicle was apparently owned by Ward and Ward's husband. Yes, she's married. She then admitted to deputies that she was having an affair with her high school student. Deputies then located the student. He had socks, a shirt, and boxers on. The officers transported the teen to a safe place to receive medical care and be interviewed. They did the same thing with Erin Ward. Erin Ward was then booked into the county jail. The principal of the school then put out a message. This substitute teacher will not be returning to our school for the 2023 to 2024 school year. I mean, duh. Let me know what you guys think about this case in the comment section below. And as always, these videos are for informational purposes only.
This guy. You're seeing this happen too often, Seekers, man, with these teachers. They really need to be like, if they need to switch up the system or something, man, to catch them before they even enter the school, Seekers.
Guy is the real Humpty Dumpty, and his story is much darker than you think. Deep in the eerie town of Puddlebrook, Kentucky, resided Gilbert Eggman, a man plagued by misfortune. His tale took a sinister turn when he joined the construction crew. Perched atop a towering brick wall on his very first day, 3 co-workers, fueled by malevolence, sent the ladder crashing down. Gilbert's pleas for help fell on deaf ears. Desperate to rescue him, the trio resorted to a crane. But destiny had other plans. The crane, guided by an unseen force, struck Gilbert, sending him hurtling to a grim demise. The town whispered of Gilbert's curse. In the following months, darkness consumed Puddlebrook. One by one, the 3 construction workers met their untimely ends, each death shrouded in mystery. Gilbert's curse, it seemed, had unleashed its wrath upon them, becoming an urban legend in the small town.
This is a good reminder to double check every single nook and cranny in your house. Because in 2019, this couple came home after a week-long vacation to see that there was a stranger living in their home. And he had most likely been living there while they were also in the house. Also, if you like these kinds of stories, you'll like tonight's episode. Upon arriving home after a week away, Josh Campbell tried the front door of his house, but there was a stranger on the inside pulling it closed. That stranger was 26-year-old Ezekiel Zayas, and yes, this is a video he left on their personal computers. The 2 were able to call the police and eventually get him out of the house, but that's when they saw all of the terrifying stuff he had been up to in the home. He also left them videos on their computers that included incredibly personal information that they had only shared with each other, meaning that he had been listening to their conversations. But the worst part was the knives. Ezekiel had left notes in the house about surgeries that he wanted to perform on the family, like a hand transplant. And when the couple went into their bedroom, they saw that there were knives and other utensils all around the bed. It seemed like he was preparing to do some sort of operation on them. Frogging stories are absolutely terrifying, and I don't want to give too much away, but you might be spooked by tonight's episode.
Morbid Facts, Part 238. When actor Peter O'Toole cut off the tip of his finger in a boating accident, he dropped it in some brandy before putting it back into place and wrapping it with a bandage. But upon removing the bandage weeks later, he found out he'd put it back on the wrong way. During production for the 1969 movie Shark, a stuntman was killed on camera by a shark that was supposed to be sedated. After the production company used the man's death to promote the film, director Sam Fuller quit. When you develop scurvy, your body is extremely deficient in vitamin C, which is used to make the collagen that holds your skin together. Because of this, scurvy will cause your old scars to reopen. In 1904, a Swedish sailor named Carl Emil Peterson shipwrecked on a cannibalistic island in Papua New Guinea. A savage tribe carried Carl to their king, whose daughter instantly fell in love with him. 3 years later, Carl eventually married the king's daughter, and once the king died, Carl became king of the island himself.
Whoa, Seekers, what the heck? A real life king.
You have to hear this. Imaginary friends might not be so imaginary. A 15-year-old girl named Madison said that when she was 3, she had an imaginary friend named Kellum. Her mom, Kelly, didn't think much of it, but gradually Kellum started to feel less and less imaginary. Madison said that Kellum was a tall man in his 40s who was always wearing work clothes. One day, Kelly caught Madison singing a song called Daisy Bell, a song that she had no way of learning otherwise. And when she asked her where she had learned the song, Madison said that Kellum had taught it to her. Kelly still wasn't spooked though, but things started to get creepier and creepier. Madison said that at first her imaginary friend Kellum was very nice, but as time passed, he wasn't so nice anymore. She said that he would start to yell at her, tap on her windows, and keep her up all night. He would always want to talk and play and would just never let her go to sleep. She became very afraid of Kellum, and she told her mom that his face just doesn't look the same anymore. She said that he started to look sick and his face became skinnier and his eyes became sunken in. All of this was very scary to her, but then one night things escalated to a whole new level. Madison said that one night Kellum was being very aggressive and he walked up to her and grabbed her by the wrist. She screamed for her mom and Kelly came and picked up her daughter. The windows in Madison's room were blowing like there was a big gust of wind, but to her surprise, the windows were actually closed. Kelly eventually contacted her father, who was a pastor in a Pentecostal church. He anointed the house with crosses of oil, and Kellum never came back. But that's not all. Later on, Kelly did a property search and found out that the house adjacent to theirs was bought in 1941 by a man named Callum Beasley.
Morbid Facts, Part 237.
Is that like a movie or something?
In 2014, an Indian soccer player named Peter Byaksung Zula died after scoring a goal. He was trying to celebrate the goal by doing a somersault, but landed awkwardly on his neck and died in the hospital a few hours later. It's almost certain that the astronauts survived the initial Challenger explosion, only to die upon impact with the water. At least 3 of the crew's emergency oxygen tanks were manually switched on after the capsule broke apart from the rest of the shuttle. In 1950, Timothy Evans was executed for the murder of his wife and infant daughter. Evans had always insisted that his downstairs neighbor John Christie was the real killer, but Christie was the chief prosecution witness during Evans's trial and was able to sway the jury. 3 years later, Christie was discovered to be a serial killer of at least 8 people and later admitted to killing his neighbor's family. 54 years after his wrongful execution, Timothy Evans was officially exonerated.
That's what he gets?
This video is so disturbing that a number of people have fell ill after watching it. Proceed with caution.
One here smells great. Which one? Smells like Mother's crazy sister cake. Oh, you think so? Yeah, I do. It smells so good. She couldn't have been that crazy. I don't think so. Oh, you don't think so, huh? No. Well, she put her poodle one time in a microwave oven to eat it? Yeah, to eat it? Oh, no. No, 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 silly. To dry it. But it exploded. And they were both found dead. She must have been out of her head.
You put a pool in the microwave, Seekers? There was something wrong with her. Self? Unacceptable.
Yeah, she's crying. She's inside by herself.
Okay, honey. How old is your child?
She's 2. She's only 2. I'm coming, baby. Okay? I'm coming.
See, cause that whole freaking institute has to be checked out, Seekers, man. There's no way you should leave a child like that 30 minutes alone. It's like everybody else just left and just left her. What? Nah, she got sue. Seekers.
So this photo is the reason you shouldn't put your feet up on the dashboard of a car. Whoa. In 2007, Granny Keeley had an airbag deploy on her at 120 miles an hour. She was sitting passenger with her feet up on the dash, and when the airbag went off, her knees went right into her skull. Obviously, this led to a brain injury. Her 2 front teeth also fell out, but she lived, thankfully. She lived without a forehead for about 2 years until surgeons fitted a ceramic forehead into her skull. She had near constant headaches, and she developed gallstones because of the medication she was on. After they fitted a ceramic plate into her forehead, they injected fat from her stomach into it so it could look more natural. This is her today, so she looks very normal now. And of course, because she's in good spirit, she says her ceramic forehead is designer because it was made in Italy. She also spent a considerable amount of time educating people on why they shouldn't put their feet up on the dashboard. Because if you do, you could end up like this. And you might not be so lucky. So, if you get anything from this video, stop putting your feet up on the dash.
Okay.
Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. And as always, these videos are for informational and entertainment purposes only.
I will not be doing that anymore. See, because y'all guys put your feet up on the dash, y'all might want to rethink that.
What they find out years later will haunt you. A young couple decided to take a late-night stroll through the forest, but little did they know what awaited them. As they walked, the man felt a sense of unease, but his girlfriend dismissed his concerns. Suddenly, the man stepped on something that felt alive and squishy under his feet. Before he could react, they heard rustling from the bushes beside them. They ignored it and kept walking until they returned home. Years later, and they were watching TV when an interview with a death row inmate caught their attention. The man had been asked if he had ever came close to getting caught for his heinous crimes. The killer responded with a chilling tale. "Yes, I remember one night in the woods, a couple walked right by me. The man stepped on the body of the girl who I had just killed. I was hiding in the bushes just a few feet away, but they never saw me." The couple watched in horror as the name of one of the most notorious serial killers was revealed. His name was Ted Bundy. Follow because my next story is crazy.
You never know, Seekers. You never know. Follow that gut feeling.
The man you saw in that video, Richard Ragland, went on to drown that day. And this GoPro footage actually captured his final moments of life. Before his death, Richard actually served in the National Guard. Everybody remembered him as having the biggest heart and being a very smart guy. However, on June 4th, 2017, a freak accident would cause Richard to drown in the water he was swimming in Georgia. To this day, nobody knows exactly what killed Richard or what forced him under the water, but his friends that were with him that day stated that he went under the water. They tried to help him, but there was no way they could get him back up to the surface. So after his death, Richard's family mourned their loss. But it wasn't until years later when a diver actually recovered that GoPro sitting at the bottom of that water. The diver's name was Rich Abernathy. He has a YouTube channel where he goes into bodies of water and dives. And he was diving in that same water in Tennessee when he came across a GoPro. And when he looked at the contents of that GoPro, the connection was made that this was Richard Ragland, the man who had drowned there only a few years prior. I'm going to play you a little bit more of that video. It is just some really haunting stuff.
What happened?
Being with brothers and sisters, we live in life.
Just went under and that's it?
We live in life. The thing is, one common goal that we all share is the same goal.
If you want to hear more true crime stories, listen to the podcast Murder in America that I co-host with my wife, Courtney. It's available on all streaming platforms.
What happened, Steve? She laughing.
Things that are scarier at night. Corn mazes.
They never bother me. I feel happy and fine. Living in the sunlight, loving in the moonlight, having a wonderful time.
Playgrounds.
I don't need a lot. Coffee's only a dime. Living in the sunlight, loving in the moonlight, having a wonderful time.
Playgrounds, corn mazes at night. I will not be there.
The ship that caused the bridge to collapse in Baltimore apparently had electrical issues prior to leaving port, but proceeded to go anyways.
What?
For those of you that don't know, this is the Francis Scott Key Bridge, and this cargo ship ran into it one night on March 26th. That caused 6 construction workers who were working on the bridge to fall and die. Now, initially, people thought this might have been some sort of terrorist attack, some sort of EMT device, a remote control device that caused the boat to basically stop, restart, and move right into one of the pylons here holding up this bridge. But what is now kind of coming out as the FBI has opened up a criminal investigation as to see if any laws were broken, because the boat apparently, a source close to it said that it was having electrical issues while still at port, decided to leave anyways. This obviously caused the death of 6 people and a massive construction project. Now, the mayor of Baltimore actually released a statement that they had partnered with 2 law firms regarding this. They were going to launch legal action to hold the wrongdoers responsible, and will take decisive action to hold responsible all entities accountable for the Key Bridge tragedy, including the owner, operator, and manufacturer of the cargo ship. Now, the company that owns the cargo ship is Synergy and Grace Ocean, and they actually filed a petition to seek a limit to their legal liability in this case. They are trying to set the cap at $43.6 million maximum liability for this bridge, which would be obviously way more expensive to repair. Now, those companies filed the petition under the 1851 maritime law that allows them to seek to limit their liability to the value of the vessel's remains after the casualty. Basically stating that the value of the cargo ship was $90 million, minus out, $28 million for repair costs and $19.5 million in salvage costs. They limit their liability to that. Whereas attorneys for some of the victims are stating that they're using an archaic law to try and skate around paying what they're rightfully owed to pay. Now, the road crew that was on the bridge had 0 warning, whereas 6 of the people ended up perishing. 3 bodies still have not been recovered, and it was only a last-minute mayday that allowed the police to make it to the bridge to stop any traffic from coming over it.
If you haven't heard about
the whole case, man, it was really just talking about the money seekers, man. But yeah, what about the people who freaking unfortunately had perished? They just trying to use that law in order to freaking save some money seekers. There was an electrical problem, they still left. There's more to that case, man. It meets the eye.
Extremely disturbing case known as the Girl Scout murders, then you may want to stick around. Viewer discretion is advised. In June of 1977, more than 100 girls headed off to Camp Scott in Locust Grove, Oklahoma, hoping for a summer filled with fun and newfound friendships. But little did these girls know that their dream would become short-lived extremely fast after a tragic event took place on the campgrounds. It was about 2 months before the incident occurred when a young camp counselor found a note in her belongings claiming that there was going to be 3 girls in one tent murdered this year while all the girls were attending camp. Knowing that the campers and other counselors like to play pranks on one another, she just dismissed the note and left it there as a joke. But little did she know that she would come to regret this very quickly when the tragic events began to unfold on the campgrounds. On the night of June 12, 1977, a storm blew through Oklahoma, leaving the girls to take cover and hide away in their sleeping bags to be protected from the bad weather. It wouldn't be until the next morning that a camp counselor would come and check on the girls after the storm and realize that 3 of them were stuffed deep down in their sleeping bags with bloody sheets and signs of strangulation, rape, and even mutilation. The 3 girls whose dead bodies were found in those sleeping bags were 8-year-old Lori Farmer, 9-year-old Michelle Goose, and 10-year-old Denise Milner. After the death of these 3 innocent girls, police and other law enforcement agencies rushed to the scene so that they could start their investigation and get to the bottom of who could have possibly targeted these 3 innocent girls.
One of the counselors?
Discovered near the campgrounds was a cave that police would decide to go into, where they would find masking tape and 2 wedding photos, which seemed to be a very strange combination. After the photos were released to the public, an old prison employee actually called in, claiming that he has seen those photos before and he's almost certain he knows who committed these horrific acts on these young women. And he believed that the person behind these sick and twisted murders was a man by the name of Gene Leroy Hart, who was an escaped convict and convicted rapist back during the time of the Girl Scout murders. The crazy thing is, Hart was actually acquitted due to the lack of evidence on the police end, and he claimed that he was actually framed and that he did not commit the murders, even though there was trace evidence of his DNA found at the crime scene. And it's still unknown if Hart actually committed these murders or if he was actually just framed. And now, here in 2023, after the not guilty verdict years and years ago, there is new evidence that has arisen that Gene Leroy Hart was actually very closely linked with these murders.
This 10-year-old kid murdered other
And he
children,
got away with this.
and she pretty much got away with it. This is the twisted story of serial killer Mary Bell. So Mary was born in 1956 in England. And when she was a child, she displayed some disturbing behaviors. She was violent, she would lash out at her family, and they knew that there was just something wrong with her, but they didn't know exactly how far this temperament would take Mary. In 1968, a boy who had been playing with Mary Bell was pushed by her off of a roof. And later on that same evening, the parents of 3 small girls called the police and said that these girls had been playing with Mary Bell and that she had tried to strangle them while they were in a play pit. Now, Mary was interviewed by the police. Keep in mind, she was a child at the time as well. She claimed that she had nothing to do with this, the kids were lying, blah, blah, blah. And so the police let her off with a warning. They alerted local authorities, but they couldn't do anything. But that leads us to May 25th, 1968, the day before Mary Bell's 11th birthday. On that day, she lured a 3-year-old boy named Martin Brown into an abandoned house and strangled him to death for no reason alone. She then left the boy's body in there and went on with her day. So the next day on Mary's birthday, she and her friend broke into a nursery and vandalized the place. And eventually, when the police checked the scene of the crime, they discovered some of these disturbing notes that Mary had left. This one read, "I murder so that I may come back." And another one said, "We did murder Martin Brown, F off." These notes were written by Mary Bell and left there. It was almost like she wanted to get caught, or she wanted to toy with the parents. Then, a couple months later, in July of the same year, 3-year-old Brian Howe went missing. And when they found Brian's body, they made some disturbing discoveries. There were puncture wounds covering the kid's legs. The letter M had been haphazardly carved into his stomach. Hair had been sliced off from his scalp, and his privates had been mutilated. Eventually, though, it was found that Brian died from strangulation. And when the coroner was looking at his corpse, they determined that the killer was probably another child. So eventually, after a large manhunt and an investigation by the police, authorities were led to Mary Bell, who was seen playing with Brian on the day of his death. I mean, there are a lot of details that go into the story. I can make a more detailed story time if you want, but eventually Mary confessed to killing Brian and also confessed to murdering 3-year-old Martin just a few months prior. So after a 9-day trial, which there are some crazy details in that as well that we could cover, Mary Bell was cleared of the murder charges, but she was convicted of manslaughter charges. At the time, she was only 11 years and 6 months old, making her Britain's youngest convicted female killer. A statistic and a record that she still holds to this day. But Mary Bell only ended up serving about 12 years in prison for the murder of those 2 young boys. And she was released back into society in 1980 at the age of 23. She's still alive, and nobody knows exactly where Mary Bell is today, as she's been granted lifelong anonymity by British courts. She has her own child, and like I said, she's not dead, so nobody knows exactly where she is. So if you're watching this from England, your next door neighbor may have been a child killer. You never know.
Hit it on the head. You never know, Seekers, man. Who the person you live in the next to, who they truly are, man. She was that young, and she kept doing it, and freaking 9 days, she just got acquitted off those charges. But she got charged with something else, Seekers. But it's just like, damn. She was 11 years old and 6 months, that young. I don't think that something like that should ever be should be broken, man. Kids should be kids. Blows my mind, Seekers, man. Seekers, if you guys made it with me to the end, man, you're true seekers seeking the truth. I greatly appreciate the support, man. As you guys can see, man, I'm cutting back on the chatter. You guys say you don't want me to talk too much, man, so I'm trying to cut back on that. The mic is coming, so guys, the audio quality will be even better. We're gonna grow, Seekers, man, but I need you guys' help, man, by hitting that like button, subscribing to the channel, hitting that post notification bell, and follow me on all my social medias, man, so we can grow so we can grow the Seekers together. We're in this together, man. let's keep going. I'm out. Peace seekers. What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. How you guys doing? Hopefully you guys are doing alright, man. If you guys are brand new to the channel and you guys don't know what we do, we break down scary and creepy videos, man, on the net, on the web, from YouTube videos to TikTok videos, IG reels, Facebook, man. Anything weird, usual, and unexplained you can find right here on this channel. Just want to thank you guys, man, who's been tapping into the channel, subscribing, hitting the post notification bell, hitting that like button, man. We're growing the community, the seekers together, so I really appreciate your support, man. Like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed this new update, my new reacting style. Found this video for you guys today. Let's do what we do best. Let's seek the truth.
This is the Hello Kitty murder case, and it's one of the most gruesome true crime stories you may ever hear about. This happened in 1999, and Fan here was abducted by 3 men and a girl. Fan Man Yu was then held inside of a flat that one of the killers rented out for about a month. She was tortured and beaten, and they even tried to pimp her out. And apparently she was hung up and used as a punching bag. They even went as far as burning up her legs so that she couldn't even walk. She also had no real food to eat. They forced her to eat human feces. After that immense stress her body went through, she died after a little over a month being held captive there. This is where things get even crazier. They cut up her body, dismembered her completely, and then cooked up her head. They then stuffed her half-cooked head into a Hello Kitty mermaid doll. Investigators found this and found many insects inside of it as well. The rest of her dismembered body was discarded somewhere. The only pieces of evidence the investigators found was the skull inside of the Hello Kitty doll, some teeth on the ground, and organs in the freezer. Reading this story makes me just feel so horrible for Fan Man Yi and the torture she went through. This is definitely the worst true crime case I've ever read about, and then there are just so many more details I can't even say. Let me know what you guys think about this case in the comment section below, and as always, these videos are for informational purposes only.
It's definitely one of the darkest cases, man, we heard.
Sent it to her friend. This is 20-year-old Emma Rigdon from St. Louis, Missouri. On April 15th of this year, Emma was with her son when she slapped his leg and put her hand over his nose and mouth. Obviously, this was preventing him from breathing. Emma decided to record this incident and send it to a friend.
What the
She also recorded another video of her covering her son's face with a blanket in her hand. This caused the boy to cry and grab at the blanket. Once she sent that video to her friend, she also sent a handful of text messages. The first text said, "I don't know, when I do that, I feel an adrenaline rush."
Yeah, she's weird.
The next text said, "I stopped right before he dies. Last time he was blue."
Damn.
The last twisted text she sent said, "I really want to unalive him, but I don't want to go to jail. It's unfortunate, but he's just going to have to pay for his existence." The boy ended up surviving his wounds, and now someone else is taking care of him. Emma was arrested and charged with abuse or neglect of a child.
Yeah, she should.
She remains in jail without bond.
The most disturbing cults in history, Part 1. These are the Anthill Kids, founded by this man, Roch Theriot, in Quebec, Canada. These events took place throughout the 70s and 80s. Using his excellent charismatic skills, he actually convinced a group of people to quit their jobs and follow him, promising unity and equality. He forbid them contact with their family and moved them out to the mountains. He called it Eternal Mountain. In 1978, he prepared for doomsday, having his followers build a town that could save them. He relaxed while they worked and compared them to ants on an anthill. To gain more followers and keep them devoted, he impregnated all female members. They were also forced to wear the same outfit, promoting equality.
Those are some dangerous people, man, who can like control and manipulate you like that, and just make you go against your family. Those are some dangerous people, man. Definitely gonna have to stay away from them. Isn't that Prince Harry? She didn't look like she was smiling. Fake relationship? What? It's a facade? Is that what they're trying to tell us? You know, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes with the Warrior family. It wouldn't be a surprise, would it? Edit. Gotta call it out like I said.
Here are some morbid facts about the Chernobyl nuclear disaster.
Following the radiation leak, there were an estimated 150,000 abortions across Eastern Europe due to radiophobia. Many parents didn't want their babies to be born with mutations, even though the risk for most was quite low. Vasily Ignatenko was one of the first firemen to respond to the nuclear leak. After being exposed, he suffered in constant excruciating pain for 18 days before dying. He reportedly excreted blood more than 25 times per day and coughed up pieces of his own organs in those final days. When Pripyat was abandoned, people weren't allowed to bring their pets with them. Instead, firing squads were sent door to door to shoot pet cats and dogs so that they wouldn't transfer the radiation. Local ranchers noticed a dramatic increase in the genetic mutations of their animals following the leak. Some of the abnormalities included extra limbs and body parts in the wrong locations. It's been more than 4 decades since the Chernobyl accident, but experts estimate that Pripyat will remain uninhabitable for another 20,000 years.
This is the first day my Barbie became alive. It was trying to walk, so I helped it. I made a huge mistake. My Barbie is learning to talk in Ohio now.
That's weird. Barbie's alive?
These are the 4 most haunted dolls in the world. First is the Annabelle doll, which inspired the Conjuring movies, which, as you guys know, is one of the most haunted dolls in the world. She's able to not only move herself, but also move objects, and is supposedly inhabited by an extremely demonic being, forcing her to constantly be in a spirit box. Then have Ruby, which in my opinion is one of the most terrifying due to the fact that it's a porcelain doll, which all of our mothers and grandmothers have. Ruby doesn't do anything crazy, but the scariest part is supposedly the ancestor who had this doll prior passed while holding this doll, and now supposedly inhabits it. And it's a porcelain doll, which makes it absolutely terrifying. Then have Letta, who's a 200-year-old doll found underneath a house in Australia, said to make noises in the night, move by itself, and the owner has a specific account of when he was moving, he heard this doll scream while being in the trunk, screaming, "Let me out. I'm good on everything that." Then you have Robert the doll, who in my opinion is probably the most haunted and cursed doll on this list, said to be so cursed that if you take a picture or look at him without his permission, he can curse you. And this has happened to multiple people who decided to film Robert without his permission. This doll not only moves by itself, the previous owner has made multiple statements of hearing this doll run inside of the attic. On top of that, the neighbors have seen Robert peeking out the window in the 2nd story, while no one was up there. These dolls, they're scary.
I'm not a dolls person, bro. I gotta keep the dolls away from me, man. They're just creepy to me. Was that doll alive though, the last one? Did we believe that, Seekers?
Have you guys heard of the Night Lady? This all started in Chihuahua, Mexico, 2009. Residents started noticing something really disturbing. You see, now some of the children in the area were going missing. I gotta grab some food for this one. Look at this beautiful roll. Now with all the children around the area going missing, people started reporting seeing a woman. They said she would climb on the rooftops during the day, only to wait till night to sneak in through the window to snatch children. Police then sketched an image of what they believed to be the Night Lady. Only one child has been reported of actually escaping the Night Lady. You see, his parents had ran into the room and caught her just in time. She quickly then escaped and crawled out of the window. Wait, before I continue, let's say the Night Lady had taken you. Your third act has to come and save you. Who is it? Let me know who it is. Anyways, the kid that got away recounted waking up in the middle of the night and seeing the Night Lady standing over top of him just watching him. People have brushed this off as just one big hoax. Until after midnight, a teenage girl had captured this photo. This is supposedly the Night Lady.
4K. Gotta believe when the kids are saying
This
that.
is the scariest story about I'm Sorry Mommy. One night, a woman was in the kitchen reading a newspaper when she suddenly looked up and saw her 6-year-old son staring at her. She said, "Something wrong, dear?" "I had a nightmare," said the boy, "and I can't sleep." "Well, don't worry, you're safe now," said the mother. "I dreamed I was in bed and heard a sound in Daddy's room," he said. "And when I looked in the door, I saw 2 big black things with white eyes. It came out of the closet and it attacked Daddy." "Don't worry," said the mother in a soothing voice. "It was just a dream. It didn't really happen." The boy then continued saying they ripped him into pieces and then ate him after. "And they even licked the blood off the floor. I thought if I ran away they wouldn't catch me, but they did. They were going to eat me, but they stopped and said, they wouldn't eat me if I promised to..." "To what?" said the mother. "Promise to distract you while they creep up behind you." "I'm sorry, Mommy," said the boy as the mother heard the floorboards behind her creak. The boy then watched with enjoyment as his mother was ripped apart piece by piece, with a giant smile on his face.
This is the most terrifying McDonald's you'll ever see. In 1986, the first floating McDonald's called the McBarge opened up. The plan was for the boat to travel around the world and for people to enjoy McDonald's everywhere. But then something crazy happened. The 5 employees that lived on the boat went crazy. They started to hear voices at night and even began hallucinating. All of this slowly started driving them insane. After 3 years of this, one fry cook decided enough was enough. She decided to end her life. Her body was discovered on this very boat the next morning. The McDonald's were forced to close and was even abandoned for over 20 years. It seemed like everyone forgot about this floating nightmare. This was the case until 2 years ago when a company decided to renovate the boat. And this article was published about renovating the boat. But a year later, there was still no news about it. And the McBarge was still abandoned. But then a couple YouTubers decided to swim and break into the McBarge. As they went around, everything was eerily silent. Life can fall off a part 2.
Yeah, that didn't even make it like national news. You would think something like that would, right, Seekers? A floating McDonald's? Yeah, we ain't heard nothing about that. Why is that? Gotta put our thinking caps on for that one.
This girl killed her mum and then texted a photo of her body to her dad. In 2013, Rachel Hudson and her family were supposed to be celebrating Thanksgiving at their home in Virginia. However, the holiday would take a horrendously sinister turn. Rachel's mum was terminally ill 58-year-old Susan Lee. Rachel had been her mum's carer since she was just 9 years old.
Oh.
On the evening in question, Rachel and her dad got into an argument. When her dad left the house the next day to make the most of the Black Friday sales, Rachel did something unthinkable. She took a weapon out of the wardrobe and loaded it. She apparently thought about unaliving herself at this point, but she didn't want to put her mum through the trauma of finding her body. She then walked into the room where her mum was and said, "I'm sorry, this is what has to happen." Her mum apparently told her, "You're crazy," and this is the point where Rachel killed her mum. When she texted her dad to break the news to him, he obviously didn't believe what she was saying. She then took a photo of her mum's body and texted it over to her dad. Rachel was sentenced initially to 50 years in prison, but this was reduced to 18 years because of an apparent undiagnosed mental illness.
This is the scariest song
Imagine
in
a
the
dad
world,
getting that
and here's
message,
why.
bro.
Okay, so we all heard this song before, especially if you're into scary things and watch the Insidious movies. But do you know the very disturbing and chilling backstory behind this song? Well, the song is called Tiptoe Through the Tulips, and it was recorded and released in 1968 by American singer Tiny Tim.
Alright.
And when the song was first released, it didn't have the scary reputation it has now. However, this would change during his last ever live performance of the song. On September 28, 1996, Tiny Tim suffered a heart attack that was pretty miniature while performing at a music festival. And after this happened, his doctors advised him that he wasn't healthy enough to perform on stage anymore. However, Tiny Tim ignored the advice from his doctors and scheduled another concert at a women's club in Minnesota the next month. But right before his performance, he told his wife that he wasn't feeling that good. Nevertheless, Tiny Tim decided to go on stage anyway. And after performing the last song of the night, he suffered a major heart attack on stage and died in front of the crowd. And the song he was performing was Tiptoe Through the Tulips. This song was already terrifying, but it's 100 times more terrifying after knowing this. Now listen to it again after knowing this.
It's a different vibe. And shows and movies using that knowing happen, man. There's always a dark story.
On March 19th, 2024, in Mississippi, 14-year-old Carly Gregg made a phone call to one of her friends saying, quote, "Do you want to see a body?" Moments after making the call, Carly's stepfather walked into the home to see his wife, Ashley Smiley, unalived from gunshot wounds. Ashley was a loved individual who friends and family claimed she was a, quote, "loving and caring teacher who wanted the best for her students." When her stepfather entered the home, at the same moment, Carly pulled out a gun and In the midst of the struggle, he was able to successfully disarm her, leaving Carly to escape the home, going on the run. It did not take police long to find and arrest her, and in most cases, children will be tried as a juvenile, but in Carly's case, she'll be tried as an adult for the unaliving of her mother and the attempted unaliving of her stepfather. From what I read on Reddit, people seem to be split 50-50 as they believe she should not be tried as an adult. What are your thoughts?
Why did she even do that, man? That's the real question we need to be asking. The story behind it. Need details on that, case seekers.
Alone and you hear a knock, don't answer the door. That was my grandmother's one rule when she left me the family house. I thought it was just the rantings of an old woman. I didn't know how real the rule was until the other night. The house I inherited was deep in the forest, far from bustling city noises. Silence was the unspoken language here, except sometimes you would hear the owls. But the other night when I was sitting in the living room reading a book, that's when I heard it. There was a single knock at the front door, and then I remembered my grandmother's warning. If you're home alone and you hear one knock, don't answer the door. I looked over at my grandfather clock in the corner. It was midnight. I told myself that the knock was just a figment of my imagination. It was just the house settling, or a fallen branch against the door. But then it came again, a single, solitary knock. But this time it sounded closer. I was panicking. I just stood there staring at the door. The third knock was so loud that it made the door rattle. There was no more denying it. Something was at the door.
If you see this happen, you need to run fast. If you see these orange dots on a tree in the woods, you seriously need to run fast. It might just look like orange paint, but don't be fooled. This is a trap. There have been loads of reports of missing people in these types of woods. So if you see these orange markings in the woods, you need to run fast. Make sure you share this message and follow for more.
Why the hell was he there? He risking his life.
Now this video has got the internet going crazy because a guy in Melbourne, Australia is quite literally claiming that his dog was playing with a ghost. And after watching this, I bloody believe him. Now he insists that his backyard is fully secured and locked by a high fence where there is no way for another dog to get in. He also said that he ran outside to check if he hadn't lost the plot and that the ghost dog was nowhere to be seen. And if this video hasn't got you contemplating life, another video which has scarred me for life is this bastard. Now keep your eyes on the collar of the black dog on the right. So as you can see, the two dogs are just barking and barking, and then suddenly, out of nowhere, for some reason, they just go completely quiet. A few seconds later, the black dog then randomly jerks backwards into the side of the crate, and its collar comes off of its own accord.
Is that an edit or was that real?
Have you ever wondered why Domino's dropped their Noid mascot back in the 90s? Just like how McDonald's has Ronald McDonald and Burger King had the King, Domino's had the Noid. First created in 1986, the slogan was "Avoid the Noid," as he would try to thwart pizza deliveries.
The Noid loves to move pizza. It's whole Domino's pizza. We avoid the Noid.
But this all changed for Domino's on January 30th, 1989.
Okay.
On that day, Kenneth Lamar Noid took 2 Domino's pizza employees hostage with a .357 Magnum in Georgia. Now, the entire ordeal lasted about 5 hours, and his demands were $10,000, a getaway car, and a copy of the book The Widow's Son. He also demanded the employees make him a pizza. While he was enjoying the pizza, they managed to escape and no one was hurt. Kenneth was arrested and charged with kidnapping, aggravated assault, and theft by extortion. So what exactly did the Domino's Noid have to do with Kenneth Noid?
Yeah.
He had become convinced that the ads were directly aimed at him, with his last name being Noid and the ad saying, "Avoid the Noid." One of the arresting officers at the scene said that he was having an ongoing feud in his mind. Believing that the commercials were made to mock him, he fully believed that the owner of Domino's Pizza was telling people to avoid him.
Avoid the Noid. Avoid the Noid. Avoid the Noid.
Now, he was charged but found not guilty due to reasons of insanity and was sent to a Georgia mental health clinic. Domino's continued on as normal until another incident in 1995. Still convinced that the pizza chain was out to get him, Kenneth took his own life in his Florida apartment. Following this, the pizza chain immediately stopped using the Noid in their marketing campaigns. Since then, the Noid has made a few smaller appearances on t-shirts, in pinball machines, in a video game, and a small snippet in an ad. Now, in 2021, Domino's released an ad showcasing their new driverless delivery vehicles. The ad showing off that the Noid is back, but he has not been seen since that ad.
This true crime case will make your blood boil. Over a decade ago, 19-year-old Cara Nichols vanished. The teenager was born and raised in Colorado Springs and unfortunately had begun using substances throughout high school. She was reported missing on the 14th of October 2012. At this point, her roommates hadn't heard from her for 5 days. Police soon learned that she'd actually spoken to her brother on the phone on the 9th of October at around 11:45 p.m. She told him that she was on her way to a modelling shoot. The next day, unsettlingly, her phone was going straight to answer phone. It was actually her brother that ended up travelling to her apartment to figure out what was going on. He spoke to her roommates and the alarm was raised. Now, Cara's laptop was actually still at her apartment, which was concerning because if she just decided to up and left, she wouldn't have left her laptop behind. When investigators started digging into the case, they found that Cara had been placing ads as an S worker. Interestingly, she'd actually posted an ad with her phone number on it the same day she went missing. Police also found out that her phone had been used on that day too at almost midnight. Investigators started looking into exactly which numbers she'd received calls from and set about contacting the individuals. They got a return call of Joel Hollendorfer. He admitted to police that yes, he had spoke to the girl about S services, but they'd never ended up meeting. However, when police tracked Cara's phone, her last activity was in the area of Joel's parents' house. Police ended up searching the property with a cadaver dog. Disturbingly, the dog barked in loads of different areas on the property to indicate remains. However, the owner of the property stated that this must be just because they have a lot of animals and over the years the animals die and then they bury them in the back garden. The police were happy with this explanation and gave up on the search. They also decided to interview Joel's wife, who strangely declined to cooperate with the investigation. Frustratingly, Cara's case went cold. On February the 8th, 2022, a decade after she went missing, police confirmed that they had found Cara's body. It was on that property they'd searched the whole time. Joel was obviously arrested. In February 2022, his wife decided to come clean to police. She told them that Joel had told her in 2014 that he accidentally killed an escort that he'd hired. He admitted that he accidentally strangled her to death and buried her near a dead horse on the property. Joel's defense in court claimed that he accidentally killed her in an S act gone wrong and that she lost consciousness due to substance use. Shockingly, he was only convicted of manslaughter and got just 24 years in prison. This was a huge blow to Cara's family.
Telling the system. Oh, we know what this is.
Sure to hide your little sister from him. 2 months ago, Drake was rumored to be dating, and currently has been rumored to be dating, the rapper Lotto's little sister, her 21-year-old little sister. Second, and I'm still trying to process Meet the Grams. I was not prepared for another drop. I was not ready for this, but here we are. So this is Drake's home. Featuring Kendrick's song Like That. Kendrick said, "Don't make me drop the location." He dropped the location. Okay, so in the cover art for the song that Kendrick just dropped, it's showing that there's 13 individuals in Drake's home, which I think like this symbolizes like Drake's camp, like potentially OVO. And OVO is made up primarily of 16 different individuals, including Drake. Drake has this very close entourage who are very closely associated with him on a friendship and a business level. Like for example, Baca Not Nice, he has been charged and faced prison time for X trafficking. And when he got out of prison, Drake helped him become famous. What my theory is, and it's probably wrong, but there's 13 people here in this cover art. And there are 16 people a part of OVO that are like pillars in OVO, including Drake. Do the people missing from this cover art symbolize the OVO moles? Kendrick exposing Drake is going much further than just Drake being exposed. And I'm here for the tea. I'll probably make 500 more videos about these diss tracks. I'll see you guys in the next one.
It's crazy.
When Kendrick started out the song talking to Adonis, I immediately knew Drake was cooked. In my head, I was like, yeah, Drake, you done. You done. I could have turned off the song right then and there and said, yeah, Drake, you're cooked. You're finished. Retire. Because I have never heard a rapper talk to somebody kids. You know, talk to the dude who's like talking to a dude who he's beefing with, like his kids in the song. I've never heard that before. So when he said that, I was like, what the fuck? He said your granddaddy should have worn protection. Like, oh my god. He said your daddy didn't teach you shit. In my opinion, easily one of the most disrespectful lines in the entire song. When he told Adonis, let me be your mentor. Like, that is so disrespectful. Drake, me personally, if I had a son and somebody was talking about my son telling them that, me personally, I'm just saying, babe.
Guys, you know there's been a lot of back and forth between Jake and Kendrick. How I guess Kendrick's trying to expose Drake, and they like going back and forth, man, exposing both things on both sides. What do you guys think, Seekers, man? Is there truth behind what both of them are saying? Because they've been going back and forth, and it doesn't seem like they're slowing down. This is going to be like a slugfest.
Kendrick into thinking he has a daughter. People are claiming this is the daughter. She said, I don't know when, but she said, I guess I'll just take over the world myself, throwing up the 6 Drake merch shop. P.S. Wish you were here. Yesterday, Kendrick said, you need to know that love is eternity and trumps all pain. I'll tell you who your father is. Just play this song when it rains. And her username is Eternity. And she was in the background of a music video with J. Cole and Lil Durk. She said, who do you spy with your eye? Me, Eternity. Here I am with Real Cold World, J. Cole, Lil Durk. It was such an honor. Thanks, Pops. Who's her pops?
Yeah.
Said, dear baby girl, I'm sorry that your father not active inside your world. He don't commit to much but his music. Yeah, that's for sure. You lied about your son. You lied about your daughter. Huh? You lied about them other kids that's out there hoping that you come. Last year, she just turned 10. She just turned 11. Bruh, Kendrick dropped on her birthday. But people are saying in the background of Drake's Family Matters music video, you can see posters of the girl who people are claiming is Drake's daughter, aka proving that Kendrick was indeed baited. Drake is a genius. If this is true, Drake is smart as hell. But at the same time, he still got bodied. He's still not coming back from that diss.
Someone in Drake.
What do you guys think? Does Drake have a secret daughter, or was it like I said, or it was a freaking genius move on his part? It was just a bait, and Kendrick took it.
Drake's camp who's plotting on his downfall. As we all know, we got this new track from Kendrick at 6 a.m. to respond to Drake for the second time. People are saying it's another diss track, but I think it's a personal message for Drake to let him know about his inner circle. It's a known fact that every time Drake gets in a beef, he pays his people to find dirt on the person that he has an issue with. Low-key just makes it easier. If I'm Drake, what do I look like going on Google to find info about my ops? I'm dropping a bag. But what if the person you have beef with lives one of the most peaceful lives, like, ever? It completely backfires. Somehow gets right back to the person that you have the issue with. This becomes the main message in 616 in LA.
There's a mole inside OVO, but I heard that kind of Drake, he kind of like, he can say he planted all that information, so it was just fake. And I guess whoever it was, if there was a mole, they just gave themselves up, and he knows now. It's like they playing these mind games back and forth, Kendrick and Drake. It's like, damn. This ain't just, to me, this ain't no freaking regular beef. It's like, they're throwing, like I said,
With the support of this album to back it, Kendrick is literally saying he has nothing to hide. I mean, this album talked about it all. In that album, he said he cheated on his wife, had family issues. That whole album was basically a therapy session. Any dirt that Drake's trying to find on Kendrick right now is pointless. Drake's paying people to find info while he's sitting on the couch like this. It's a perfect alley-oop to see what Drake's gonna do next. Could it be something like Back to Back that's a straight hit record and just can't be avoided? Or will we see a poorly made diss track that has no chance of winning this battle?
Only time will tell, but it's undebatable that these two are the greatest artists of our generation.
Drake and Kendrick Lamar got in a rap battle. Who do you think would win?
Gotta go with Kendrick. I'm just saying, I think Drake is an outstanding entertainer, but Kendrick, his last album was outstanding.
Obama saw this couple of freaking years ago, boy. He's a damn prophet. What the hell? It's like my people, they already was picking sides back then, man. You pick it, so Obama got freaking Kendrick over Drake. Is that insane? Is that crazy, man? You know, everybody has their freaking side, bro. This beef, man, it's gonna go off for a minute. That's a YouTube. If you guys stay with me to the end of the video, your true seeker is seeking the truth. I really appreciate the support, man. Like I said, hit that subscribe button, man. Hit that like button. Let's grow our community, the seekers, together. Like I said, man, I'm trying to do everything I can to upgrade this channel, so I really appreciate your support. You guys hitting that like button, it makes everything possible. Follow me on my social medias, man. Send me the videos that you guys want to react to. I'm out. Peace, seekers.